If you're in your first microeconomics class and in the cost curves unit, I'm a tutor and this is what you gotta know about the difference between the short and long run ATC. And before we get started, if you wanna see where you stand for your final exam, go click the link in my bio to take my free practice exam. It's got 25 of the most common types of problems that professors test students on. Alright, so the long run ATC looks something like this right here. And before we dig into how it relates to the short run ATC, let's first understand the three different zones of this curve. We've got this first one on the left right here. This is the economies of scale zone. As this firm in the long run increases their output, they're experiencing lower average total costs. There's positive economic forces in them scaling their enterprise. And I want to emphasize here, this is in the long run. So in your head, conceptualize a long-term time horizon where the firm can add more resources, add more capital, maybe expand the number of buildings they own. They can make those long-run decisions that can't just happen in one day to scale their business. That's why it's the long run, not the short run. In the short run, a firm can't do much to change the capital that they're working with. If they've got 5 printing presses, they're going to have to work with those 5 printing presses. But in the long run, they can add more capital and experience more efficiencies over the long run. So this first economies of scale zone on the long run ATC curve is kind of like when the firm is in its infancy. It's just starting to scale, so each additional machine that it adds or each additional piece of capital is really felt and helps them boost their efficiency. All right, enough about that. Let's move on to the next zone here. This is the constant economies of scale zone, because we can see the long run ATC is horizontal. As they scale their output, they're experiencing a constant ATC. It's not like it's hurting them scaling, it's just that they're not benefiting from the economies of scale of their long run average total cost decreasing. They're just saying to themselves, all right, great, we can output more units and it's not costing us more, so we're still happy. This is an ideal zone for a firm to sit in the long run. But eventually, let's zone in on this last point here. Eventually they get too big, and this is the diseconomies of scale zone. Because now, as they scale their output, their average total cost is increasing. Simply put, over the long run, they've just gotten too big. They've added too many machines, too many workers, too many XYZ, and they've overscaled themselves and should pull back their output to rest in this constant economies of scale zone. Think like too many cooks in the kitchen here. The firm's just gotten too big. And even over the long run, they can't fix it by adding more capital. They've just got to scale back their output. Now, with all of this considered, at any point in the short run, we rest at some point along the long run average total cost curve. And maybe our short run average total cost curve looks something like this, or this, or this. When you're working with your typical cost curves graph, you're working with a short run average total cost curve. It's just that you can't see the long run implications of it, because when we're working with calculating profit for a firm or whatever it might be, we're looking at the short run. So you're not going to really know if a firm rests